Pyro. Dangerous people, dirty and sketchy places, and broken space stations. I first opened my eyes in Obituary, a rugged and run-down and rusty station around the planet Bloom. There is no law here, only groups of people with trustworthy names like the Headhunters, imposing their will onto us, the Chris Roberts followers. Eager to make money, I decided to start as an upstanding and righteous citizen. My Hull A, which has a stark contrast to the graffiti-ridden hangars in Obituary, was ready to deliver cargo, and so was I. With a plan in mind, I loaded the desperately needed boxes onto the exterior magnet plates and took off to the Golden Riviera. So as a quick review of the cargo hauling missions, I had 3 missions for 50k each to the Golden Riviera and 3 missions from the Golden Riviera back to Obituary. That's 300k Alpha UEC in around 25 minutes, which is a crazy good payout in my opinion, if it would work. Of the 6 missions, I could only submit 3. It's still a good payout, but these problems drained the fun for me, so I decided to do some good old trading. Since I only made around 350,000 Alpha UEC, I decided to trade pressured ice from Stanton Gateway to Checkmate Station. According to SC Trade Tools, which is a great website by the way, I can buy a full load for around 330,000 and make approximately 127,000 profit. But as expected, it did not go so smoothly. I could not fill my Caterpillar to the brim with pressured ice. The autoload function probably had problems with the layout of the Caterpillar and the sizes of the boxes. Nonetheless, I grabbed as much as possible and went on my way to Checkmate. I arrived in Checkmate unpirated and quickly landed my precious haul. In classic Star Citizen fashion, I was not able to sell my cargo, so I manually unloaded everything into a cargo elevator and then sold it. Being fed up with buggy cargo boxes, I thought I should do some mining. So I got the prospector out, got the cool luminalia paint on it and started. My plan was to go towards Bloom, and on Bloom I straight up saw some rocks, went down and struck gold, or better, Bexolite. But when I tried to open it, it just instantly crashed. Filled with sadness, I reconnected again, got the prospector out for a second time and got stuck inside of it. A server barely hanging on to its last overland copper internet connection wouldn't open any doors for me anymore once I was inside. So I reconnected once again. On my third try, I easily got out of the station and started scanning Bloom's beautiful, barren and bold landscape. After a short atmospheric flight, I found a cluster of 12 rocks. Yes, 12. And I immediately knew if they don't light up bluish, they won't scan and won't be mineable. And with my nerve stretched thin, I had to push ahead again. And once again, I found a beautiful, luscious cluster of 7 promising rocks that are unmineable again, because this is Pyro. But inspired by Jason Mraz's song, I wouldn't give up the search. And there it is, a mineable cluster. You can also see the bluish highlight that I mentioned earlier. I got cracking, rock after rock, and extracted as many valuable ores as I could. I was quite surprised how powerful the stock prospector is, without any modules or laser changes. Happy with my achievement, I decided to melt a few quasi-grazers from the inside out and rip their disgusting looking eggs from their dead smoldering bodies. And I continued with my search for some more exciting space rocks. The second working cluster was not too far. I filled my little trusty prospector with gold, laranite, hephaestonite and headed back to Obituary Station. This little excursion would bring me, if directly sold and not refined, 34,000 alpha UEC. Normally after refining it's around double, so 68,000. Quite a weak payout for the excruciating bugfest that I had to live through for an hour. It was time for me to blow off some steam. And what better way to do that than mindlessly slaughtering a little space village full of NPCs. I cleared the first floor of surprisingly good enemies. The server FPS really seemed to make a difference here. And that was the mission. No game-breaking bugs encountered. Bravo CHG. This was cool. I was preparing for my next mission as I got a message about a rather profitable Bit Zero mission. A fellow bug-resistant Star Citizen enjoyer accompanied me. Meet Space Monkey. I was a bit confused since this location has the same style and layout, but is not in the same location as my previous mission. They seem to be carbon copies, like the bunkers are. Maybe there are some variants that I did not yet get to explore. Anyway, we started shooting. The enemy NPCs are once again really reactive. They have good aim and are overall quite dangerous. We explored a little, but did not find anything too fancy. The elevator is an armistice zone for some reason. On the second floor, we had to clear out a lot of enemies again. And they were everywhere, hiding behind boxes or inside the huts. Once you fire your first shot, they all slowly come towards you from every direction, so be prepared for that. In the middle of the hangar, we found a freelancer loaded with slam and gold. That's a really big payout. We took off, ready for some big profit, and both got bugged out of the freelancer and we got stranded in space. I give this mission a 5 out of 10. Not deterred by that, we tried again. This time we brought another ship. We filled it and got away safely. We wanted to sell somewhere planetside, and our ace pilot Space Monkey, who puts Avenger 1 and Bergs to shame, gracefully touched the ground. So we made, in total, minus 26,000 alpha UEC, since each mission cost us 13,000 alpha UEC. After this rather disappointing but fun endeavor, we decided to do some salvage. We flew to different outposts and found some abandoned ships that we could salvage. But then we saw a 200k salvage mission that sounded similar to the In the Wake of Disaster mission in Stanton. It will be a lot riskier since we are in Pyro, but we jumped there anyways. We found an incredible amount of ships. When I was scraping the hull of a Carrack, Space Monkey found some Weevil eggs and Slam. Sadly, we could not put the bigger boxes into the reclaimer. After we filled up with quite a few things, I went to grab my Caterpillar to greedily get some boxes for myself. It was going quite well, and I got Slam and eggs. A Starlancer came threateningly close to me, so I left it a little 16 SU Weevil egg present. With a moderately filled Caterpillar, I went back to safely store the ship. Unfortunately, when I tried to recall my ship, it randomly got destroyed, and I lost everything in the process. All the loot is gone forever. Classic Star Citizen moment. So for the review of my first few hours in Star Citizen 4.0, I have to say it is cool. especially to jump through the tunnel. But all the hype, the many players and the shards aside, I could not do a single thing without fighting through bugs, losing everything that I worked on for the last few hours or straight up crash. If I wouldn't already be invested in Star Citizen, I would have left on the spot. Alt F4 and maybe revisit a year later if I ever would. I talked my girlfriend into trying it. She couldn't even start the tutorial because she could not select Area 18. The dropdown was just empty. Star Citizen, with all the amazing things that it has, felt more like a tech demo than ever, or a prototype. Most little pieces of the puzzle either don't work by themselves or stop working in tandem with others. As a software engineer, this feels like technical debt. Technical debt is the implied cost of future reworking, because a solution prioritizes fast release and new things over stabilizing the long-term experience in Star Citizen. 4.0 is all new and shiny, while it breaks a lot of other and older systems that again will need rework, which in true Star Citizen fashion will break other systems again, and so on. Don't get me wrong, I like what they're doing and I believe that they're doing a great job. All I'm trying to say is that there is a mountain of work to be done without creating new content or more technical debt. I hope we see improvement of the systems that we saw failing in this video, because for me a stable game is more desirable than 2 new buggy star systems or features. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment with your thoughts or feedback. Subscribe if you want, I'd really appreciate it. See you next time.